you get set up, Team Quell, well, here's one of the, we know we're talking about the challenges with technology, but the beauty of technology is this team changed their headline just a few minutes ago because they came up with something more brilliant. And so we got that information through technology. Quell's headline is Fostering Quellness. And this team is made up of Ida, Kate, Jesse, and Lydia. And they're representing Dartmouth College. Welcome, guys. And their product type is a mobile app. And the floor is yours. 8 minutes for your presentation. We'll have 7 minutes Q&A.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Adia.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Lydia, and we're Team Quell. 3 in 4 college students look at their phone the first thing when they wake up. Out of 8 to 28-year-olds spend over 44.5 hours a week in front of a screen. And 77% of parents say that teens get distracted by devices and don't pay attention when they're together. And so we realized that this was a problem. And so we sat down with college students to learn a little bit more about what was going on. And this is what we heard. I start writing an email and then end up watching cat videos on YouTube. As soon as I unlock my phone, my thumb automatically moves to Instagram. I set screen time limits on my phone, but the message pops up and I just ignore it. And finally, I don't even know why I go on Twitter. It's not even that satisfying. And so from all these interviews, we were able to take away a few things. First, people do not want to be addicted to their phones. Opening social media has become an instinctual behavior. Using social media to pass time is now the norm. And social media use comes at the expense of other wellness activities. And so we took these takeaways and we really got to narrow down on who our user was and really what they needed and how we could help them solve the problem. And so we landed on college students completing a task on their phone who open social media out of habit need to put their phone down once their task is complete so that they can stay productive. And so how do we break this habit of opening social media?
All right, so based off of our user research and interviews, we determined that our solution would have to make the user rethink going on the social media app, provide an effective prompt without making the user feel too bad, and give the user agency to change their behavior. This all comes down to the goal of intentional use of these apps. It's all about making the user conscious of their own actions. So now we'll introduce you to Quell. Quell is a mobile app and web extension. Its primary interface is a pop-up screen that appears upon opening any social media application, such as Instagram, as you can see on the slide, or Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, etc. So let's take a look at how it works. If I, for example, wanted to go on Instagram, I would be presented with a pop-up screen with a prompt that provides an alternative activity besides going on the app. So in order to proceed to the app, I would have to retype the prompt. Here, it says, instead of calling a loved one, I am choosing to go on Instagram. Once I type the sentence exactly, I can click start scrolling and proceed to the app. But if I decide I no longer want to go on the app and instead want to take up the prompt suggestion, I will click never mind and the app will close. So again, every aspect of Quell, down to the wording, design, and the user experience, is aimed at getting the user to recognize their own behavior and give the user the agency to change their actions. And we've ideated a bunch of different prompts, so as you use Quell, they will cycle through and be unique every time. There's so many alternative activities that we can do instead of going on social media that are both mindful and productive, and these are just a few.
Absolutely. So when we were designing Quell, we really had to think what makes Quell different from the competition. So the first app we looked at that our users, our college students and professionals were using was Screen Time, which tracks the time users actually spend on these different applications. But we realized that Screen Time really fails to actually hinder the social media use. You can just swipe up on the notification and it goes away and you can continue on Twitter or whatever app you're on. Quell would actually create friction in the process of opening these apps and using this social media to have users start and rethink their use. The next app we kind of looked at in the general wellness sphere was Headspace, which is kind of a meditation app that I know other groups have talked about. But it only addresses the symptoms of this rampant social media use. It actually doesn't target the root issue, which in Quell would target that root issue of the social media use. So you wouldn't even need to get to the point where you're having this anxiety and stuff to use apps like Headspace. The next app we looked at was Cold Turkey, which, similar to its name, completely shuts off all social media use and just blocks these apps in web browsers and on the phone. But we realized that was completely unsustainable because users actually in a lot of business and student aspects of their lives, they actually need to use some of these social media, and it's fun to connect with friends and take a study break. And Quell would foster the healthy awareness around the social media, and it would actually give users agency to actually make their own choices. Yeah, like this last one, Focus, was an app that created inspirational quotes to send to users, but it also completely blocked that social media use. And like I said, Quell would give the users agency to actually make their own choices. So what have we done so far? After winning LookUp Live's design challenge at Dartmouth earlier this school year, we've hired a Dartmouth developer to make this Chrome extension, which is on the store now. We had our first round of user testing where we distributed the web extension to our friends and family. It is actually currently, we did some iteration, and it's in the second version, but it's just being uploaded to the Chrome extension store right now. So this is kind of the first version. Of course, it doesn't look very pretty, but we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from our users, and we'll continue to work on the web application and put that into circulation. And from there, we're working on the Android application and the iOS application.
Awesome. So getting into the nitty-gritties, as Jesse said, we have a web extension out there. We did a round of iterations and like made changes, and we kind of wanted to start with this and finish as user testing because it was an easier interface to start with rather than like an application which has its issues. So that's why one of our main goals first is to finish the user testing and then release the web extension after we've like got good feedback and send the link out to the Dartmouth community. We hope to spread awareness, develop the mobile application during that time, and we realized that our expenditure model is very front-loaded. It's going to go into the spreading of awareness as well as the development of the application. The web extension was not that hard to make, and the mobile app development, we realized needs a lot more resources than we anticipated. The permissions part of the application to be able to show a pop-up on the other screens is the main problem. And we've spoken to professors at Dartmouth who teach mobile application classes, as well as just like done a lot of like primary, secondary research. And we noticed that it's hard to make that. So that's why we want to spread awareness through merchandising and events and take our time in developing it, as well as spread the website first. And we hope to partner with institutions to provide Quell as a resource for students. Once we have this tested out, we think this would like foster mental wellness, and institutions would be willing to partner with us to provide this as a resource to all the students. We also hope to spread this and like expand the demographic to a younger age groups to prevent the like habit forming initially as well. And we think that like parents would be willing to like pay for premium accounts to be able to have a certain amount of control. And of course, we hope to we're really grateful for the LookUp network and hope to use it to get a step in the door of like other colleges and expand in that sense with like UCSD or Arizona.
And so why are we doing all of this? Well, in the end, the real long-term goal is to strive for that behavioral change, to really eliminate that habit of opening social media without thinking. And we really hope that people will start living in the moment. And so we're Quell, and we hope to foster your Quellness. And this is our lovely team. So thank you very much.
Great job, Team Quell. Nice job.